You are now listening to Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, the voice for the people. Join Richie alongside co-host property damage attorney Hans Kennon as they bring light to the taboo world of big insurance companies, exposing their tactics and fighting for justice. Hear stories from contractors across the state. Contractor Talk, here to protect homeowners and uncover the truth.
All right, welcome to the show, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, every Monday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on this fine radio dial, 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial, The Answer. And then we're to you via Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you like to stream here in a few days. And, of course, you got another shot at it, and that's on YouTube. So subscribe us there. Contractor Talk Podcast, you will find us there. And you'll be able to find us in any way that you like to consume your talk radio. And, again, that could be YouTube, could be Spotify, iTunes, or it could be right here on old-fashioned radio in Central Florida areas where you can listen to us on 94.9 FM. So just great information for you guys. We're sponsored by the Restoration Association of Florida. Check us out on raflorida.org. It's a nonprofit association by contractors for contractors here in the state of Florida. So if you're interested, if you're a contractor, you'd like to become a part of that association, check us out, raflorida.org. And we have the band back together. Hans is back from many, many vacations, and he is now abroad and back here at the helm. What's going on, Hans?
I missed 2 weeks. I was a little thrown off. I'm used to doing this. We've been doing this together for so long. I was kind of like, I'm going to do some other fun stuff. I'm like, yeah, but I'm missing the show. So, but even so, it was good to get away for a little bit. But we are fully back. No, everything's good, man. I'm back at it. I'm still perfecting some weather sites for everybody to have something to work with. We're hoping to be able to put all that together and get that out to everyone and try to assist people when they're trying to determine proper dates of loss for damage. I had a client today, and I said, why'd you pick July 15th? She said, I think that was it. I said, ma'am, there's a storm on June 5th with twice the wind speed. Oh. And I'm like,
well, that might have been it.
And I said, well, maybe that was it. And she's like, I don't know. It was months before. I was trying to think of when this storm went through. So we're trying to help folks do a better job of that. Because a lot of times, if you have a home that you're not there all the time or you're away, I have some clients who call me and go, I was in my chair, in my recliner, watching TV. I heard the storm. I went out. I took a photo. I took a video. And I'm like, great. Then you have other folks, like I said, who aren't home or on vacation. They get home. They don't think about it. They forget about it. The months go by. And they try to estimate what they believe the date of loss is. And date of loss is so important because the insurer looks at you and goes, you said this day. And I got this poor older lady today, and she's like, I that's what I thought that was it. And I'm like, okay. So we had to rework the data loss for her on her claim. But just to folks, if you're going to make a claim and you don't know the data loss, call me before you make that claim.
No kidding.
Because we want to make sure you get the right one.
That's right. That's right.
Because we see that all the time. Because that's the first threshold everyone has to pass is, was there damage within the policy period, and was there damage caused by this date of loss when you make your claim? And if you don't know, then we'll try to figure out and help you before you do that.
That's a good point, and that's a hot topic in this industry is, and I call it like this, more of date of loss versus data discovery and vice versa, right? I mean, how important is it to get the date of loss? And as you just stated, Hans, it's very important for the livelihood of the claim to have a proper date of loss, because that's what specifies what policy that the loss would go under. And they could have gotten a new policy between June and July.
Yep.
That would greatly affect the outcome of that claim if she selected a July date versus the June date when she didn't know. So that would be called the date of discovery. I discovered it around July something, but the storm was a month prior.
Right.
And that's common in this industry for signs to start to show up, right? And many roofers know this for sure, because it's only when they start to see the yellow stains in the ceiling for when they call a roofer or another professional and say, hey, I think I got something going on. Can you come check it out? Me and you, Hans, we're not getting on our roof. We have to. We know a lot about it. We're not getting on our roof.
I know enough to not go on it.
I know enough to call somebody to come and take a look at the roof, right? But sometimes it's months before you finally start to see that yellow stain. It could be a small drip. It could be just not noticed. Most people don't look up, believe it or not. I mean, walk around your house right now and tell me the last time you remember looking up and looking for stains in your ceiling. And so when you do notice, you're like, oh crap, how long have that been there? So it is. It is very important to know that a lot of the folks in this industry, and even the lunch and learns that the Restoration Association puts on, we talk about this a lot with all the industry professionals and how important it is. And Hans, you hit the nail on the head there. It's like it really determines what policy that goes in. And it could even be a different carrier if you change carriers, if you have Citizens, some sort of hostage carrier like that, and you finally break through and get to a real carrier. But even then, there's no real carriers anymore anyway. But let's say, well, and I say that in a way that they don't offer coverage for a good price. And that is true all day long, right? I mean, they get greedier, they get less coverage. We talk about this, Hans, when we look at or we hear folks that live in California can't get earthquake or wildfire coverage, but that's what occurs there. You start to hear about policies here in Florida that have no wind coverage, and you're like, but we sure do have a heck of a lot of volcano coverage, right? Here in Florida.
If an earthquake comes, I am solid, man.
Oh, yeah.
I am good.
Volcano erupts, I'm really good.
It rises out of Lake Brantley there. It comes out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, it's Krakatoa in my backyard. I don't know. It's going to be good.
I mean, insurance companies are supposed to sell risk, right? And then, but what they do is they dodge the risk, and it's like that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to run towards the risk and give me a price to cover that if that happens in my time of loss. But man, has it really gone in a different direction, and it's by under the direction of dictator DeSantis. And I hate to say that because there are people that like him, and I did too. I voted for the guy twice. It doesn't mean that I like his policy on insurance. It was underhanded. It was bought and paid for by the insurance lobby who were faking a crisis, who then didn't have to report all of their defense fees that they paid and all of their disgusting ways of expenditures as they should have in the 2021 bill and Senate Bill 76. The Office of Insurance No Regulation did not do anything to uphold that statute, and they still don't. We still don't see the reports, and when they do finally come out, they're so like it's like the Epstein files. It's like here they are, they released, and all of it's redacted. You're like, oh, thanks for releasing it, but nothing is there. It's like one little name, alien, and it's like, oh, look, he had sex with an alien. And it's like, no, it's who was at his party apparently. But
well, there's one thing we always talk about too, and we were trying to remind people about the value. The politics matter. People like to think that politics don't matter, like, oh, my vote doesn't mean anything. Well, the reality is everyone's vote still does matter. What we always talk about is every time we complain about the insurance company, what you're actually doing is complaining about the state of Florida and the legislature and the agency.
Exactly.
Because every time they raise rates, the state has to let them. Every time they change their policy, the state has to let them. Every time they sell the policy of no insurance, the state has to let them. Policies with no wind coverage, the state. Nothing is done by the insurance industry without approval of the state. So every time you say to yourself, geez, my premiums went up again, those darn insurance companies, honestly, it's not their fault. This is a classic hate the game, not the player. Because the insurance industry has to go to Office of Insurance Regulation and say, hi, can I do this? So every time you complain about your insurer, you really should be complaining about the guy in the seat who you vote for or didn't vote for who allowed all this to happen.
Right. And it's just the aggressive intimidation tactics that the governor did to bully all of the fellow Republicans to vote his direction. And he literally told his own people, if you don't go my direction, I will run people against you in the primaries and you will lose your seat. Or I'll make sure you get a crappy position in the House or the Senate, which that's also something that they hold over, right? I mean, even though he's not supposed to control it, the Senate president is supposed to control who resides over each of the committees, which that's a powerful position. If you're the chair of the Banking and Insurance Committee, you can decide on what gets heard and what doesn't in your own committee. you like I got cut short one time, in one of the committees, and they didn't hear my speaker card on one, and then they gave everybody 2 minutes. I come up, they said, okay, 1 minute, Mr. Kidwell, and I'm like, so I go to lodge a complaint, and they're like, okay, we're gonna make sure we give the chair the complaint. I'm like, but that's the person I'm complaining about, though. They're like, well, I don't know what I want to tell you, but that's who you have to complain to. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, this is going nowhere. So they literally rule that committee, and so I guess I don't know if I should be, actually proud of testing that theory, but that is what happens is they're full control of that committee. They can also, as you saw, where previous President Pasadomo, she was with that whole attorney bill, she's in the Senate sitting on the Rules Committee. Well, a proposed insurance bill has to go through banking insurance and rules and probably judiciary, right? So she's a part of this. So she calls the chair of the bank and insurance. Hey, don't worry about that. It's never going to be heard in my committee. But hey, while we're talking, is there anything you need to go through my committee? I got you. Right. That's where the horse trading begins. And so then there's no chance for the bill to get through. So what does our crafty Speaker of the House do? They put the bill into another bill that they're talking about the attorney fee provision, where it brings back attorney's fees for homeowners who are in dispute against their insurance company, which was brilliant because it didn't move at all in the Senate. So the House then gets a bill from the Senate after they get it all the way through the committees. Then it has to go to the House. The House has to agree. Well, this is on something totally different. This is on phosphate mining. And the Senate was all like proud. Look at this phosphate mining bill that we're bringing through. This is our pet bill. We love it. We're going to pet it.
Senate President Albritton, that was one of his favorite bills for the year.
It was, right? And then until the House got it and says, hey, cool, this is a cool bill, but we all just voted on it, like 90 to like basically nothing, that we're going to insert this attorney fee language in this phosphate mining bill. Genius! And so then they get that ratified and approved, and they send it back to the Senate to get stamped off on, and then over to the governor to sign. What does the Senate do? Kills the bill.
Yes.
It was they felt like it was a poison pill that ruined the phosphate mining bill that had attorney's fees back for insurance or insurance disputes for consumers. It would have brought back action to where if a consumer has a dispute against their insurance company and they win, insurance company then pays for their legal fees, as they should. You're in a $10,000 roof dispute. You need every penny of that $10,000 if you're a homeowner that can't afford it. You then win. Then you have to split basically with your attorney, because you have to pay for your expert, you have to pay for the cost, you have to pay now the attorney's fees, and then maybe a public adjuster or an expert. It's just like all of that. Then you're like, so now I have a couple grand to repair my roof and not replace it, even though I won to repair or to replace it. So that's where it becomes a problem for the state of Florida and for mortgage companies and for folks that are on a fixed budget, that they're not saving up for this. They have insurance, right? They're supposed to be in good hands. They're supposed to have a good neighbor, right? But what we find out is that that's not the truth, is you have a underwhelmingly bad insurance policy that only pays for maybe up to $10,000 unless you use a preferred pretender by your insurance company, right? Which is illegal, because that's literally what a monopoly is to control goods and services from A to Z. But I'm not a lawyer or whatever. but they sure do try to control everything, right? I mean, they control what they have in their policy. They can decide on to changing that with an auto renewal without any discount, without any warning. And our association called out American Disintegrity for that back in 2021. They were going to start renewing everybody's policy to then start putting in this binding arbitration. And there was no discount, no nothing. So we filed suit on that against the Office of No Regulation, because they don't care. We got some traction on that, right? But then, of course, then they doubled down on the governor's donations, this one specific insurance company. And then the next year, they codified it in statute that says that you can offer this crappy bit of coverage as long as you offer a cheaper policy, like a discount, and they sign off like a waiver. They say, okay, I agree to take the crap, and so they did, and now there is, right? But at least there's no automatic renewal of crap, right? I mean, because that's what you don't want. You're paying for a cake, and then the next year you get crap, and then it just gets crappier and crappier, and you're like, all right, cool, I've got my insurance, I'm good. I first asked my agent, does it have this, this, and this? And you have that, this, and that, right? But then now, a year or two later, maybe 2 policies later on, you have a loss, and they're like, oh, looks like you only have like 1% of matching, you know, so you're not able to fix your floor. Or looks like your roof was kind of old, and we have this roof surface schedule thing on here, which is illegal and it's against the statute. So, but we have this in our policy, so... And you're like, that wasn't in my policy when I first got it.
Yeah.
But now it is a couple cycles down the road. And so that's not cool, because every year I get an increase. I don't know about you. I can have the same crappy policy or even less coverage, and then the bill still goes up. Right? None of that makes sense. Erosion of policy and higher policy premium. The only person that it makes sense to is the CEO of that insurance company. And it makes dollars and cents. It makes them so rich that Slide, together with the wife and the husband, are making $1 million a week in average salary for running Slide Insurance Company. So it's in the paper. Check it out. So if you have Slide Insurance and you're wondering why your bill is so high, that's why. It's because you have to support 2 executives that make $1 million a week, and that's what they're paying themselves, and that's apparently okay. So if you Google what are the top 10 insurance companies in Florida CEOs making, the minimum is around $25 million a year. Wow. So $500,000 a week in weekly salary is what these people get. And they're crying that they're broke. Like, I'm scratching my head. I'm doing the math, and I'm just like, the math ain't mathing. And I'm like, maybe I need to go back to school, because I missed that insurance college class to where it's like, you know, you take the people that are paying you and you squeeze them. And then you squeeze them a little bit more, and then you keep squeezing until you just can't squeeze anymore. And I'm just like, that's not what I learned when I was
and the
growing
people
up.
You're squeezing are afraid to make a claim. So they keep taking more money, and then people go, I don't want to make a claim. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my coverage. I'm like, you don't really have any coverage, and it's costing you $6,000 a year in the middle of Lakeland or Auburndale for a 1,500 square foot house. You're paying $500 a month for a policy that really has no value, and people are like, yeah, but I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose my coverage.
So true.
Right. And so what do we do in today's market, right? And that's what we've been talking more and more about, right? Especially with our guests, to talk about, okay, well, what can we do if people are needing to pay out of pocket because they don't have coverage, or they're in a delay of coverage, right? Many of our folks have talked to them about financing, in-house financing, outside financing, or the possibility of, running certain services under their, with them to help, or to be preemptive, really, even to have these guys come out and offer inspections that they'll keep the photos for. So if you do have a storm after they've taken photos, there's a comparison. I mean, talk about value in that. But we have Jenson. He is back. We couple shows back, let's say months back, we had a different guest on here, and you were should I call it a co-guest?
I guess so. Yeah.
Well, what's up, man? Welcome back. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Richie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And you have a co-part. You go in there and make the introduction.
This is Pedro. He's one of my right-hand man here at Midas Roofing. He's a senior project manager, kind of a jack of all trades, does it all for us, insurance expert, all that stuff.
So he has the Midas touch.
He does indeed, yes.
I love it. That's great.
Thank you for having us here. I really like the way you're saying everything. Is a lot of information for people that needs it. So thank you for having this podcast over here.
Sure, absolutely. And there is, right? like Hans was saying, it's like, when that cancel culture is out there, right? What do they say? Don't support this brand, or don't support this, right? It's like, it's the same way when you vote, right? You are supporting their ideals, their theories, what their agenda is, right? So it's super important that you do so. So I'll just do another plug, frankforchange.com. So Frank College is running for CFO. It's super important.
Republican primary.
He will be in the Republican primary. So if you are a Republican, then you vote early in the primaries and vote frankforchange.com. That's where you find more information about it. But vote for Frank College. If you see that name, check that box.
I actually went and seen him talk at the DFW out in DeLand.
Oh, you did?
And he had a great, did a great presentation. Awesome. But then we went and we hung out in the parking lot with him for like an hour after
cool.
it was done,
Nice.
and just talking shop, talking about everything. And I gotta say, I love the guy.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. He did it. He's not.
Sharp guy.
He's so that's it, right? Not a politician, just really bright dude who's actually deciding to have the guts, to take on this stuff, that all these injustices that he's seeing in this thing. So you know what? Why not me? Right? Let me go and try to make a change for this. And
and he's not coming in and saying, I'm going to put all these laws in and make them pay. None of that.
Enforce the laws we have.
Exactly.
He goes, the laws already exist. We're just gonna uphold them.
Yeah.
We're just that's it. I mean, it's really simple. He's like, if anything, we create a board, so all folks are represented, the consumers are represented, adjusters and each side are representative of this, so that way there's no railroading in one way or another. The pendulum doesn't need to go back and forth. Right. There is a middle ground that everybody should be happy with. And so unfortunately the pendulum is way on the side of the insurance lobby, and that's not good for anybody. And we saw this, and we continue to see this, and it's funny because the defense firms were all about all this big change, but they're also in trouble. They don't have enough work because there's not enough lawsuits going on, and it's very scarce around Florida because the notion, the fake media has been out scaring everybody, making this chilling factor, what they call it in the industry, of like, oh, if you file a claim, you're not, you're good luck on getting insurance. So people are like, well, let me just pay out of pocket. And I'm just like, so you're going to pay $6,000 a year just for nothing, just to go out into imaginary bucket and then still fix your own stuff because you're not going to report a claim because you're so scared.
The propaganda is strong, and it's worked.
Oh, it has worked.
It's worked so well. I mean, I can't, we talked to so many homeowners where we have to kind of, begin by convincing them that we're on your side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're actually, we want to help you get what you deserve. It's funny how many people think that, any kind of loss, a roof, whatever it may be, that they're like, that we can, as a contractors, that we can file and get claims approved without any, I'm like, these claims are getting approved by the insurance company, right? Like, we can't just pass it through. We can assist you from getting, from getting done wrong.
Yeah, we can help you do it right.
Because we can help you do it right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you document, and many of the, let's say the culture of the insurance side of it, they want it to be in their language, right? Which not all roofers use Xactimate in estimating. Right, they'll do this. How many squares? This is, if there's any linear footage on drip edge and gutters and such like that. Here's you go, blah blah blah. Maybe some what do they call that?
Hip and ridge.
The skylights. There you go. Any skylights, that kind of thing. Replacement. Blah blah blah.
Don't put them back.
And then they'll usually just be like, okay, boom, that's it. And the insurance company's like, no, we don't accept this, and they turn in this Xactimate estimate, do it in that way, and they're telling the homeowner, and the homeowner scratching their head going, I don't know, right? But most of the time, the insureds are being told by the insurer to go get 3 estimates. And then if they're, low and crappy enough, the insurance company's like, all of a sudden they're like, you know what? We don't need Xactimate estimates. We'll take that chuck in a truck estimate right there.
Yeah, every time.
$7,000? Shoot.
That's the one.
Here you go.
That's the one.
That's the guy.
And also what we've seen recently, or not recently, but an ongoing, and actually I spoke to someone this week about it, or last week about it, was that the insurer will forgive your deductible if you use their roofer, but if you forgive their deductible, it's a crime.
Right.
I had a discussion with someone last week just talking about that, and the philosophy behind that is that if the roofer is going to waive the deductible, he has to present a false number to the insurer. But if the insurer wants to do it, again, they can just basically take the money out of their pocket. But I know it seems always very unfair, and I think it's still, the optics of that are really terrible. That literally the insurance company goes, you know what, the crime doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to me, so we'll let you do it. But if it did, we'd be the first ones to enforce it. So you do see that a lot too. So
it's a HMO style, right, of property insurance, right? And like we see, how did that work? There's a reason that you don't see that in health insurance anymore. Right, because it didn't work out. It didn't work out for anybody.
Right. What's funny about HMOs is an HMO under Florida law is not even insurance. Like you can't call an HMO policy insurance because it's a health maintenance plan, and literally, if you try to sue an HMO, you can't because they're not insurance. I mean, it's that bad. It's literally that bad.
Wow.
They got the middleman.
Insurance chapter 627 is the insurance chapter. It's in some other bizarre chapter. It's literally not even insurance.
Wow, that's
Wow.
the thing.
Wow, and yeah, I'm glad I don't have that or even understand that, because I could imagine, my disappointment in that type of insurance too. So, but anyways, all right. So we're gonna take a break, get some thanks to our sponsors. We'll come back to the roofers here at Midas, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back live. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, right here on 94.9 FM 950 The Answer. If you're listening to us here on the Central Florida area, thanks for tuning in, and we will be in a few days over to Spotify, iTunes, and also on YouTube if you like to listen to the show or watch the show in that way. At any given time, you can double check us on this one fact right here. You will never find the same outfit on this guy right here, Hans Kennon, in any show. Check him back to back. It's always different. So check out Hans' Dapper Attire of the Week here on our fun YouTube page. There you go. Gotta love that. And so and you have questions like, how deep is your closet? Do you rotate out, with your professional cleaner? Like, I mean,
I have to. And actually, what I need to always make sure to do is check my humidity.
Yes,
in the closet, because we talk about mold and how mold grows, and you got clothes that are too tight together or against an exterior wall, and you got a sprinkler banging against the outdoor wall. Bad things can happen.
Absolutely.
So you have to keep an eye on those things. So as part of my my closet maintenance, I make sure that my humidity is good.
And that's a good point that you bring up. A lot of closets are on exterior walls, and just like you said, you either get a sprinkler over that, or you got a lot of sun that creates heat. And you have natural ways for your house to breathe, right? No other way to say it. But on the exterior wall, it's going to be a little bit warmer. And so if you have a closet that's right up against the exterior wall, and there is no movement of air, you're going to have problems in that closet. It's going to be 10 degrees warmer and maybe 10% higher humidity than right on the other side of that door, where you do have an air diffuser, which is like you need an intake and you need an outtake, I'll just call it that way, diffuser or whatever, for your air to flow in. And you need at least 2 to 4 air exchanges per hour of the entire room. So it needs to circulate. So if you don't have one of those intakes in one of your rooms, you need to add it. Talk to somebody about adding it in there. Many people do alterations to their homes, but they fail to do the ceiling, and add an extra intake. If they're adding a wall, so to speak, and there's intake on one side but not on the other side, or there's not an output, for you to start circulating that air in there, that's going to be a problem. Or if the only air intake is in the hallway, and then you've got like diffusers in each one of the bedrooms, but the intake is in the hallway, and then you start closing doors, then you're going to also have a more heightened humidity room,
right?
And you're going to get false readings because that thermostat is probably in the hallway, right? I mean, so now your air conditioning system is thinking it's being functional by reducing the humidity and lowering the air temperature, but in reality, it is there in the hallway, but not in the bedrooms. So with heightened humidity, over 60% is going to create mold. And yes, mold can grow on your clothes. You don't have to see it. You smell what they call a mycotoxin off-gassing. So myco is the mycelium part of it. Endotoxins are bacteria. So you got endotoxins, mycotoxins, right? So your mycotoxins are that smell that I think, you smell that musty smell. It's kind of, but it grows on whatever surface. So clothes give off a different odor than it would building materials and outside damp materials and such like that. So they're all going to give slightly different odors that have a trigger for us. And we're like, oof, what is that? So that's a good point to bring up. If that's something that is, that you need to get looked at, still rocking and rolling on air quality assessors. So a lot of changes going on, but we still offer the indoor quality services, mold testing, asbestos, lead testing, anything that's kind of going on funky wise. You smell something, What did I say? Smell something, say something. That's right. Smell something, say something. That's right.
That's how it goes.
It is. It is now. After all that other movements, I got to jump in with those movements, man. It's like anti-cancel culture kind of stuff. Some more positive stuff. It's like you really should say something. Smell something, say something. But good point on that. So Hans has this app that he would go check out on his thermostat to see what the humidity is. And so the point is we're getting to is like now we're going into rainy season where it'll start raining every afternoon. Humidity is going to be on the rise. And so I think those nests aren't that expensive to buy. I'm not so sure about the installation. I'm not the electrical guy, so never take electrical advice from me. Pay somebody to put it in. But anyways, you can pull it up and you have a humidistat portion on there so you can tell what the humidity is. It's so important. If you're just looking at the temperature and you're like, it's 75, it's fine, but it's 75% humidity, well, mold's going to start to grow. Right? I mean, so you want to make sure that it's under 60%. So ideal 30 to 60% relative humidity.
And they'll shoot you a text message. Does yours do that? So it'll shoot you a text message if it goes above, the optimal setting.
I got 55% in a master bedroom.
All right. The upstairs hallway is going to be high though.
It's always harder.
Yep.
It's 51% in the family room area.
That's downstairs though.
Upstairs. Yeah, upstairs is 69.
Knew it. Holy cow. Heat rises, so you got to watch that.
One of my other kids moved out, so now that he has it down to like 68 every night, where he's like hanging sides of beef in his room. But I kept the humidity down, so I have to be more cautious now that he's not there.
Oh, that's funny.
Boy.
But to start occupying or making those changes for the upstairs, because at that percentage humidity, you're going to have that funky smell on anything semi-porous or porous. So
I thought it was just my kid.
it very well could be, but that's at least contributing to the problem, not the problem. But what else keeps out humidity from your house? And that's a good roof. So these guys here have the Midas Touch. We have Jenson here, and we were talking right before we started. I was like, many people in this industry, including roofers, contractors, everybody's has to do something a little bit different. We have to offer something a little bit different than the others to stand out or to assist. Some don't touch insurance claims at all as a roofer. Some only do retail, and some do retail and what they call re-roof, which is your re-roofing based off of an incident, which usually at that point insurance is involved. And so you have a specialist here. Is this Pedro that does all this?
Yes. Yep.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Pedro is he's our project manager. He's bilingual. He handles a lot of our Spanish clients too. And what kind of one of the things. So I actually Midas is the second roofing company that I've done. I started a company about 7 or 8 years ago. Ohana Roofing Restoration. We cut our teeth in insurance. That's where I came from. That's what we learned, and that was great. We built that company up. I ended up selling that to my partners, and the idea with Midas. One of the big things that we've seen, aside from the insurance side being kind of a disaster, but one of the big issues that I was seeing over and over again was actually on the craftsmanship and the trade side in the industry. We were just seeing, it's funny, like a lot of these roofing companies that came up here in town, you guys know a lot of these guys, a lot of the restoration companies, they kind of grew from the same tree of guys. It was funny. A lot of these guys came from Winter Park High School and stuff, and I kind of grew these larger roofing and restoration companies and stuff like that. On the labor and the craftsman side of things too, we actually seen a very similar kind of growth that was actually coming out of a few different bigger companies, guys, and but what was happening was we just seen bad habits and just really poor training getting passed on from kind of one generation of these, and it was spreading throughout this entire like Central Florida and really almost like the state. And that was really what my idea was, to kind of bring back, like really intentional quality back to the craftsmanship side of things with Midas. And really only up until about 6 months ago, we were basically just focusing on working with other contractors. So that's kind of what we did. We would build roofs for other contractors. We'll also train your team and get them certified on different certifications, and really get them, kind of let's retrain them, get them out of doing some of these bad habits, so many things that are kind of bringing down the bar for the entire industry. And that's kind of what we have been doing. We've had a lot of success at that, building out amazing teams of really skilled legal craftsmen that take pride in their job. And then we're kind of turning that now back into, now that we've got this amazing dream team built out, we're looking to now connect back with homeowners, customers, kind of maybe actually come back and reintroduce some of those other things that we have from our past, and bring some of this knowledge and marry it with this amazing the actual skill of the trade that we've kind of refined over the past couple of years.
Awesome. That's awesome.
One of the things that I think is that we do on differences, that, for example, we come from the service industry, so we know to what is a delivering experience for somebody, right? Because if you see it, when people comes down to with somebody that didn't know how to handle the claim, now they have $300 to fix their roof, but the roof is $27,000. And it's like, well, what do you do, right? So then they don't know how to handle it.
Stop
then
water from coming in first. Right? And then
There's definitely a gap there.
Yes.
Yeah, but at the end is what is the face, the change of their face when they see somebody's giving an information that actually makes sense to fix the situation. That's when they really, what we're trying to basically understand our customers and helping with the information they need. Yeah.
Now, do you guys offer free inspections here in the area? And most people are saying, I have damages, I need an estimate, I need inspection on my roof. Is that something you guys do here in Central Florida for free?
100%. Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. We'll do. You kind of mentioned it before, and I'm glad that it's really great that there's so much competition. People are really going above and beyond for the customers. So we're definitely there to do something that what you mentioned before, which is we give you a full photo report. If your roof is great and in great condition, you know what? You can take this. It's from a licensed contractor. You can send it to your insurance company and say, hey, they said it's good. They said it's got 10 more years on it, and that can help you with lower premiums, possibly, right? Or not getting the letter, that dreaded letter of just saying like, hey, you got 60 days to get this replaced, or we're gonna drop you, which we know everyone's terrified of.
Right.
So we definitely provide you with that great photo report. We're not gonna charge you for that. One of the great things I love about Pedro is he is so focused, and this is from God's honest truth. This isn't a pitch. He is so focused on just helping other people. That's like what God put him on this earth to do. So he really is in these meetings with these homeowners, he wants to, if it benefits him too, that's fantastic, but he's literally there just to figure out how he can help them and fix their problem.
So if somebody does want to get in touch with you, get a free inspection, how do they get a hold of you? Last 13 seconds.
So the best way, if you want, you can go on the website to get a free instant estimate. That's MidasRoofingPros.com. You can call 407-773-2866.
All right, we'll be right back. We're going to say that one more time after we get back from the break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. And we are back live. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. That's what I love about being live, man. We're just sitting here, shooting the crap in between, and then we come back and we're like still chatting. So having a good time. That's what I love about live radio here. So, but short break there. We're back here with Midas, and you were giving out some good information. Is how do I get a hold of you? And we were like right at the last couple seconds to where you said like an eye-opening statement. And even Hans was like, wait, what? So tell me more about this instant estimate thing. I mean, that's kind of gold for a homeowner that is hyperactive and ADD as me, right? You're like, when you have a thought, you want to know like right now.
Right. Yeah.
You're chat GPTing it like you're like, oh, what is this? What does this average roof cost around here? But no, you can go to your website and get an instant quote.
Instant estimate. It comes up in, it's under a minute. And one of the reasons that, one of the things that we want to do is it's just a lot of transparency too, right? So this is not, it's not gonna change. It's not a sales
It's not
pitch.
like you're gonna roll up to a fancy neighborhood and then charge them more because they got the money.
Anybody go in,
right?
you can put your address in there, and it just asks you one or two questions just about what kind of roofing system you want. That's another thing. A lot of people now, they're wanting to go metal, right? It's huge, popular, stands up to these storms really well. Well, if you're curious on how much a metal roof
Looks
would
like butt, though.
what it costs for you to upgrade it, you just go on there, get instant estimates, totally free. So it gives people that idea. I'm not responsible for the technology. We just buy this stuff, but it is pretty awesome, and we're happy that they let us use it.
I was like, wait, it does the pitch and everything, and no, it does it quick. It does. What is it? Measurement of the roof.
Yeah, so it gives it. Wow. We know that they have these kind of more detailed measurements that you can get online, but it gives you a snapshot, and there is a range on there, right? Because it's not taking that time to really get some of these like guaranteed measurement reports that we can get from these aerial views that are guaranteed to 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. So there's going to be a little bit of a range, but it's going to give you that idea. This is going to be your starting point.
That's really helpful, because most people don't know if a roof is. Everyone thinks a roof is expensive, but they don't know what expensive means. Some people think a roof is $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, and a lot of times we find that it's actually a lot of times less than what they think. I mean, that's the beauty of that tool, is it kind of gives them hopefully some again a range that they can stop going, I have no idea what a roof costs,
right?
Without calling someone and getting some hard sell guy want to come to my house.
Exactly. And even for those those people out there that are doing the amazing job of budgeting and thinking about putting some money away because they know they are going to have to replace this at some point. You can even use it for that. Hey, looks like my roof's going to cost, in today's dollars, $14,000. Okay, so we need X amount of dollars away every month for the next 7 years, and that way we can be prepared for something like this. So,
you start assessing yourself, right? You're like, okay, every year I'm going to put away $6,000, and when I get there, I'll get a new roof. Wait a minute, that's how much I pay for insurance. Wait a minute, I'm getting bamboozled.
Seriously.
And I think that's one of the things is that people have a lot of information, but it's disinformation, right? It's like it's going, my insurance is going to go up because if I do a claim, but it goes up every year. So it's one of those things that we share on our website is about that instant quote, so you can see an average of how much is your roof. But that's part of that. Yeah.
And what is the website?
It's MidasRoofingPros.com. Pros with an S. MidasRoofingPros.com.
Love it. That's where you get your instant estimate. So at least you know where a good starting point is of what your roof replacement is going to cost, so you can fit it in your budget. Or if you are shopping, you don't need that high pressure sales tactic situation going on. Well, let me come out and then I'll discount you here and then all this other stuff. It's like, I love when people put their best foot forward in the beginning. It's that whole, like, they try to oversell you and then you're like, no, I'm done. It's kind of like that timeshare thing. It's like, did I say 50,000? I really meant 5. And you're like,
called the drop.
Why didn't you just start with that? Now I definitely don't want to do business with you.
Did we add it a 0? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Then you want to know how much lower it could go, right? What's the bottom of this?
Yeah, no kidding. We just went down to 5, so about 2 and I'll do it, right? But that's our nature, right? I mean, so that's great. I mean, it cuts a lot of that garbage out of that hard salesman stuff right up front of, like, buy today and we'll get you this upgraded shingle or whatever like that. I mean, this is what it is. You guys have a lot of experience in the industry and be able to help people out, whether they're doing a re-roof or a new retail, and that's important for people. You mentioned the documentation, the photos, free estimates that you do. In the beginning, I started talking about people are doing other things, right? Offering financing and such like that, because people sometimes have to wait. Hans knows this more than any of us, a year or two to get reimbursed by their insurance company. What do you do in the meantime? You sitting there holding an umbrella for 2 years? No, you got to get the roof done. So are you guys able to help in that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do. One of the approaches that we actually like to take is we call it a retail approach to insurance roofing, which is, we'll get we'll inspect the roof. You got a claim here. Let's get it filed. Say it's on, you guys know, if it's a tile roof, you will not get approved unless you got, unless you got Chubb or one of these guys.
That's so bad. That's funny.
It's crazy, right? But unless you got Chubb or one of these guys that they know what you're paying into, right? It's kind of they understand, right? They have this agreement with you. You're paying into this because we're going to pay you out. right?
Right.
Like this is more of a roof savings account, sort of what we're talking about, or insurance savings account. But none of these other guys, I mean, it doesn't happen. I've seen
An RSA, a roof savings account.
exactly.
Start selling that.
I've seen them blown off. I've seen tile roofs blown off. During
And they're like,
Ian and no.
Oh, that was
It's foot traffic.
Well, right. It was installed incorrectly.
We're always like, was Santa up here?
It's a thermal expansion.
Yeah.
It expanded so much it just kept expanding all the way down the road.
Yeah, we're like, all the ridge caps are in the yard. That's how it
That's a
happens.
lot of expansion.
Your roof started yawning. All the tiles fell off.
Yeah, so we'll go. We're ready to go the whole 9 yards with you. We'll introduce you to our great network of people that can work with and help you get your claim approved. But in the meantime, as you say, we have great programs where once all the documentation is taken and everything is into the system and it's ready to go, everyone, including the insurance company, has done their inspections. We'll go ahead, get you financed 12 months, same as cash, and let's get the job done, right? Like, let's get your roof fixed. Now you have to go through the process of getting what's rightfully yours and getting reimbursed. But in the meantime, you're not stressing out every day about your house being destroyed.
I tell my clients all the time, if you have the resources or the ability to do so, always get the job done as soon as you can. Because the stress of worrying about your house getting worse while you're waiting for litigation, all those things, it's just, it escalates between your family, anyone else. So whenever you have this type of situation, the guys at Midas potentially can help you get that finance, get it done, get that new roof on. And trust me when I tell you that you will walk into your house and go, whew, thank goodness. And that will take a lot of the stress and pressure off that you have going on.
What we find too is that because the insurance company is counting on you not being able to do that. And so when they start throwing these lowballs offers at you through your attorney, you're so much more inclined to take it because you're so stressed about what's happening and what's going on with your roof. Whereas if the roof's done and you've gotten it fixed, you're more likely to hold out for what you feel that you actually deserve because you don't have that extra added pressure of knowing your house is being destroyed at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's right. And it really is a thing. I mean, both the mental stress and that's what the as well as emotional stress, all that kind of stuff. Don't I know? Dealing with these guys every single day. But a homeowner, they're not used to that, right? I mean, they're used to a loss one of every 10 years or once in a lifetime is when somebody deals with this type of major loss. And so they're so confused. They're hearing all these different things, get all these estimates, go do this. And even nowadays, they're like, oh, take pictures or just take a video of it. I mean, it's getting that like nonchalant. And then just be like, we'll pay you, a little bit of this,
a little bit of that,
right? And it doesn't, and then they want to close the case and be done with it, it just the marketplace is just getting very confusing, and so folks really don't know what to do, what's covered, what's not, and Hans, this is where I think it's a good opportunity in the show to talk about how to get a hold of you because you're the person to ask about all these complex questions. What's covered under this? I say it's a foreign. How did I say? My dad used to say it. It's just like a radio instructions, like this foreign radio instruction booklet, and you're just like, where do I start? What does this say? What do I do? Right? And those are the kind of questions that you take over at Kennon Law, right?
Sure. And like I said, if you have a loss, if you're out in your yard, you find shingles in your yard, tile in your yard, or something just looks different up there, or you find something in your yard, don't throw it out. Get a trash bag, put everything in a trash bag, leave it in your garage. Everyone tells me, I had all these pieces in my yard and I threw them all away. And I'm like, if they were dollar bills, you would have kept them. But they are, in fact, they are dollar bills that you chose not to.
They are.
So hang on to all that. I said, then before you call the insurance company, because the first thing I'm going to say is, when did it happen? And most people, the first thing they're going to go is, I don't know. I found these shingles in my yard. And they go, well, what was last doing in your yard? I don't know. A couple weeks ago. I don't know. Well, when do you think it was? And now again, you're struggling to find a date. Don't do any of that. When you find damage, just call me. My cell phone is 407-782-0258. The office is 888-878-HANS 4267. Just call us and go, I found shingles in my yard. What do I do next? And we'll help you make the claim. We'll help make sure it's right. We'll find you the best and proper date of loss. help you manage the entire claims process.
Yeah, yeah. And if you hear a pharmaceutical song talk about shingles, it's not that same thing.
You can't get a vaccine. You can't get a vaccine for this one.
Not on this one.
Don't do it.
You might need a vaccine, but won't do it.
You might need a stiff drink afterwards, especially dealing with those guys. But the point is, if you don't know, give Hans a call, and I think that's the message here. It's like, even if they have a policy, if you have a policy, you're like, you know what? I don't know if I'm covered for this. I have XYZ coverage or insurance carrier. He might be like, ooh, that one is known for XYZ, right? And this is why it's bad, you know. And so some commercial policy owners don't understand what they have, because it really does look like foreign radio instructions added like on its head and upside down and in Chinese symbols.
Look, if you have a commercial policy, the primary insuring document is called an inland marine policy. Okay, dig that.
Right.
It's an inland, marine, not inland. Inland marine policy is the primary insuring document for damage to your property if you have a commercial policy.
But you're inland, you're on land, but they're giving you a
marine.
Inland marine policy.
And that's exactly what it's called. to this day, absolutely. Inland marine is what
the
I
marine
got.
there. Yeah.
They want you to be confused. And so, yes, if you're, if you're thinking about filing an insurance claim, before you make that call, just give Hans a call. They can make the claim on your behalf. Only an attorney or a public adjuster can make the claim on your behalf if you're an insured, and I heavily advise that you do. In this weird makeup of I would say just this time in life, to not make a claim on your own, because the industry is just really weird. Right, I mean, like you guys said, we're laughing about it, but if you have a tile roof, I mean, we all laugh. We're like, good luck, good luck getting that paid. And so that is a problem, right? I mean, when people are paying real money to insure your tile roof. But that's also one thing that you can do. What I do is I have my tile roof looked at once a year right before storm season, get it inspected, get minor repairs done if you need to. You guys do repairs in-house, is that right?
Yeah, 100%. That's right.
So, and that's important, to call a roofing company that has repair people in-house. They're not using third parties, give you the documentation report. One last time, how do they get a hold of you?
You can call me at 407-773-2866 or visit MidasRoofingPros.com.
Thanks so much for being on our show tonight,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you for having us.
That's awesome.
It was great.
See you guys next time. And guys, we'll see you next week on the show. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. See you.